Hey everyone, welcome back to A Game of Thrones in CK3, the mod, alternate history of the Dance of Dragons timeline, or House of the Dragon show timeline. Sorry about the last two episodes' audio. I realized what the problem was. My recorder was set not to my microphone, but to my webcam's mic, which is why it sounded so bad. So, problem solved moving forward, and I did promise in those two episodes, if you wanted to skip them in the series, that I would give you a nice catch-up. So actually, if you're first jumping into this series altogether, this is the perfect time, because I'm going to go through real quick what's been going on and what's been happening since our alternate history started way back during the Dance of Dragons war, like in the House of the Dragon show. Season 2 just finished airing when I'm doing this, so if you're watching this in the future and you're like, wow, that was so long ago, or wow, that was like a couple weeks ago. Anyway, let's get into it. So starting off, if you couldn't tell, King Aegon here won our alternate history version of the Dance of Dragons. Princess Rhaenyra, we were all spared initially, but she decided that having Dragonstone alone wasn't enough for her, and she wanted her own independence from the crown, but she lost that war too and was executed the second time around by King Aegon here. So that's where we're at with the whole realm situation. Her son, Jace, he is a Valerion now and Lord of Driftmark, and underneath, the new ruler of Dragonstone, Prince Jaehaerys, who is for some reason in jail from his father. I suspect, I didn't quite catch it last time, but I suspect he tried to, claim his throne early or something like that, and maybe lost real quick, and his dad had to put him in jail for it. So we'll have to find out if he's feeling lenient about his own child at this point, or what he's going to do about that, because it seems like his patience had run out with Rhaenyra. So we're playing as House Blackwood here over in the Blackwood Vale. We are Samuel Blackwood. We are a survivor of an alternate history here. Our rival, we started off by fighting against all the way back Lord Humphrey here. His son Amos, who was supposed to be an enemy of ours, is dead. He was slain in battle. His son Hoster took over, and last episode or 2 episodes ago, we got him good. So initially, we did not control all of the Blackwood Vale. We were missing a little piece of it down here called the Ravishment, and that was under the control of our house's long-standing rival, the Brackens. And so we declared war. We kicked their butts, we took back the land that rightfully belonged to us, and we sieged down the capital and captured Lord Hoster here and put him through some torture before we executed him for good. One less Bracken in this world is all for the better, as us Blackwoods would say. Now his son Sefton is ruling and is basically the house leader and our new house rival that we need to focus on taking down. The other thing that we've been up to is some scheming. We are a callous and zealous, arbitrary, intricate web weaver, and we have been making plans and laying out the groundwork for our dynasty to rise to power. Over here in Lake Haven, Lady Moira is the High Lord of Lake Haven, but she is married to our son and heir, Benjicott. Therefore, when she passes along her titles, they will also go to my heir's titles. So essentially, our house is going to inherit Lake Haven and nicely sandwich in our rivals in the middle here. And slowly but surely, over the course of this series, the plan is to chip away at these Brackens until they have nothing left and we get rid of every last one of their dynasty. The other things that we've been heading up to is over here in Cape of Eagles. Our son, who's not like our direct heir, but at least it would come to our dynasty, he's married to Darna here, and she is the next in line after Jocelyn Mallister. So if we were to maybe have Jocelyn have an accident, Mr. Ryman's titles would fall to him. So that's our other little scheme going on. And a very similar thing down here in Old Town with the High Towers. Right now, Lord Samgood is ruling because last episode we managed to successfully take out his father under surreptitious circumstances. So at the moment, we are scheming against his son in a murder plot. Look at that. We have some agents that we can invite to the scheme, so we might as well do that right now. I believe, his spy master. We managed to get a hook on this guy, so he would join us if we use the hook and a bribe. No, oh my god, he's really, really scared. He says it's way too dangerous to do because he is a craven guy. And so looks like he's, as much as he is like an amazing spy master, he is not willing to join us even with our hook against him, and he's about to die too. So a little disappointed, honestly, overall in terms of our scheme there, but maybe we could get this guy on board. See, they're very, very tough. We could maybe get his chancellor. We would need to bribe him 112 goldaroonies here, but that would increase our odds of getting this kid done and dusted with, and the one less high tower in the way for inheritance, the better. So just to show you what we're kind of aiming for here, we have Sam Good and his sister Ceres, Martin Hightower, his son Arwood, and then finally, way down here in the line of succession, it's going to take a while to kind of get through here, we have Sir Garmund, who is matrimonially married to my sister Black Alysain here. So the idea would be sooner or later, maybe the Hightower lordship would fall under my dynasty's line instead of the Hightower. So these are just the kinds of schemes you come up with in Crusader Kings 3 when you're a schemy, sneaky type character. The other thing that happened in the last episode was we went on a cute little hunt. We went out, we didn't get the buck or the roe in the hunt, and on the way back, unfortunately, also we ran into a little bit of trouble with a fire and we became wounded. It is a severe penalty to our health, so only by some miracle might we survive our injuries and recover, and I hope we do, because we have become such a good schemer. And unfortunately, our son Benjicot, who would become our heir, he is not exactly as good as us at scheming and things. So all these things that I was just pointing out, these little sneaky plots that I've outlined here, we can only really pull those off if we survive. Luckily, we have raised up our second son Balian here to be a much better schemy intrigue type character. He basically sucks in every other way though, so he is probably going to grow up to maybe be our spy master, maybe serving once we pass away and play as Benjicot here. But for now, we left off last episode where he's fully come of age, and now we have to find him a good marriage to maybe help us out with a new alliance, or maybe just to incorporate some strong traits into our dynasty, maybe just to find the right person that he can fall in love with. So let's see what the game suggests are some of our most relevant options in the vicinity. Cherie Lannister. This could result in an alliance with the Lordship of Lannisport. We have Lord Maynard Lannister. He is the head of his house, but it is not the main house, House Lannister. It is a sub-house of House Lannister. The Lannisters of Lannisport, essentially. You'll see there's a couple of different variants, and they still call themselves Lannisters, but they are kind of like the offshoot house. So they're never going to be the main big Westerlands house that's currently ruling. They're going to always be just a sort of like the minor lord Lannisters, but that doesn't necessarily mean that this is going to be a bad marriage, so we could consider it. She is close to the appropriate age, so it wouldn't be too bad. We actually have a proposal for us, and here's another little scheme that's paid off. Amya, our daughter, currently our caravan master, is also matrimonially proposed to Adam of Wayne here, and he is the heir of his grandfather, Lord Uthredes, county of the Lordship of Turnbridge. So once again, once they get married, which I will accept their proposal now, we've prearranged that in the past, so I gladly accept your proposal of marriage. My grandson Adam and your daughter will be married. Excellent. So once they have some kids, they'll be all part of our dynasty, and Turnbridge down here will sort of become a forever ally to us, because not only is it excellently positioned immediately adjacent to our duchy, and he's under the direct rulership of the crown. The Lord Paramount Kermit of the Riverlands is our lord and lord of all of the Riverlands. So we'd have another little small ally directly adjacent to us forever, because they'd be part of our family. And I think that's another cool scheme. So we're going to accept that marriage. They're going to get married. Hopefully they have a couple kids. And we're going to continue on with our schemes. So apart from this guy, our rival, we are barred from declaring war on them for another 4 years. So we're going to have to figure out what ways we can prepare for our next war. We don't even have a casus belli, which is basically a justification for why we should go to war. So we're going to have to make up something for that. Unfortunately, our brother, Tilbert, who is also our maester and our seer, basically, he's in charge of our religious practices. He is quite busy trying to convert Ravensmarch down over here to join our religion. You see, as the Blackwoods, we are one of the only followers of the old gods in the whole of the south past the neck here. Obviously the north worships the old gods still, but we are the only ones who remember our traditions and have clung to our ways, our original ways, unlike those dirty Brackens who bent to the Andal invaders and adopted their faith. They're traitors, and that's why we hate them, along with many, many other reasons. If you want to find out more about their history in terms of Blackwoods versus Brackens and the lore, I suggest just search some videos. There's a couple cool ones out there that I watched recently, and it was very informative, and it kind of gives you the whole idea. I mean, all you really need to know is that we hate each other, and we will never give up our fight. But where are we now? What are we going to do next? We need to invent a casus belli, and this guy, because he's converting faith, normally he would help us to fabricate a claim on a county. So we're going to have to figure out a way to sort of justify a different approach, let's just say, to taking away their territory. See, I could take him off it'll take another 39 years. It'll probably be after mine and maybe even his lifetime that we actually see a conversion of the county. So even though, for example, Lord Loramus here is one of our homies, he also has ravens in his sigil, and he worships the old gods like a good bro, but he rules over this territory. And the common folk in the land, though, however, they still believe in the Faith of the Seven. They are a Faith of the Seven faith county, and so they're going to take a long time and resist converting back to the old gods, especially because it's kind of unpopular, in this area of the land. Nobody else believes in the old gods. What we could do is, I'm going to increase our authority over the ravishment, because they recently just came under us after the war that we took it back to our de jure territory. And right now my spy master is supporting my scheme to get this guy. We're going to unpause, and that guy that we just bribed is going to join our scheme and increase this success chance. So let me just do that right now, and we will kind of get rolling on this game. And maybe, oh yeah, there it goes, 95%. And, ooh, what's going on? Every nook and cranny, a dark night can truly make the shadows of my castle's hallways come alive. The perceived risk for unsanctioned visitors rise ever higher for every unguarded corner spotted. If I alone can see its many faults, imagine what more people with a similar perspective could do. So our perspective alone may be enough, and we can simply gain improved defenses for 10 years, which increases our fort level and garrison size and reduces danger in our area. Or we could hire these agents for 30 gold. I believe that my perspective alone is enough. I'm very good at intrigue, and I don't believe that the Brackens have it within them at the moment to scheme against me in any relevant way. So back to Balian. Balian needed a wife, so we were considering the Lannisters. Got a little off track. Who else? We got a lowborn girl that somehow provides us with a barony level. Your mother could marry my son. I don't think that's necessarily a good match. Rona Will, another daughter of a lord over here in the Stoneway, pretty far off. A bastard sand girl. Yeah, I feel like out of everybody in the area, unless I can brute force find somebody else for you, Cherie Lannister, she had a child, she had a husband. Who was she married to, like her uncle or something? Ugh. Anyway, I thought only the Targaryens were into that. She might be worthwhile. She is lustful, compassionate, just and stubborn. An interesting mix of traits there. But if she's lustful, hopefully she will remain faithful to my lad here, and maybe they will end up having many children of their own. And we would get an alliance with the lordship of Lannisport, and they're, they got some guys. They're not too bad. She's actually the firstborn daughter, so interesting. This could be yet another plot. See if Lucien here was to go away. What would be the line of succession? Yeah, it would be her next. So interesting. Another scheme, potentially. Let's get them married and maybe have a couple kids, and then we got to start making sure that we take out these firstborn sons, Jocelyn Mallister and Lucien Lannister. I think your days might be numbered. And look at that. Not only did our wounds heal up nicely after the fire, but we gained the trait Scarred, which actually people think scars look pretty cool. So there we go. Visibly wearing the memories of our battles or accidents, Samuel is noticeably scarred. The game makes us look kind of like scratched up, even though I think we probably would have burn marks. So yikes. Meanwhile, Lord Maynard accepts our proposal for my second son Balian to marry his daughter Cherie, and they will be joined. He says, "May the seven who are one grant them long life and many children," because he worships the faith of the seven and doesn't know that I say something along the lines of, "Yes, may the old gods bless them," instead. So I was saying 49 years, that might just be a little too long. In the meantime, we can put him back on that task in between doing other things. In the meantime, I think what we want to do is to look towards fabricating a claim for ourselves on one of the Bracken's territories down over here. So why don't we start by expanding the potential area of Lake Haven by putting a claim on the crossing ponds down over here. If we fabricate a claim, we'll take him off the county conversion, but he'll spend some time down here. How long do you think it'll take him? 18 months. And then we're going to have to make sure we have enough gold to pay for fabricating the claim once that happens. So we'll just have to save up there. The thing is, once we claim the county, I don't necessarily want to keep it for myself. I can potentially hold another holding, but I wouldn't mind having the vassal. I think we met this guy in the last episode. We released his daughter from our jail after she was captured during one of the war, the little battle that we had with the Brackens here. He, of course, had to serve his lord, but Lord Campbell here, I don't really have a problem with you per se. I would happily have you serve as my vassal instead, but if I have no other choice but to take your lands directly away from you, so be it. Perhaps you will be willing to join my court after the war is done, after I've stolen your title and I could reinstate you, if you would be willing. Maybe if you'd be willing to convert to my faith, I would do it for you. Otherwise, maybe that's a good place. If both of my sons don't necessarily follow through on their schemes to have their children inherit these other people's titles, then maybe one of my daughters or their husbands' children. Right now, Moira is marrying Vayon Reed, so that's another alliance that we have with the Reeds up in the neck. And my other daughter, Amia, we just betrothed to Adam Wayne, so yeah, I think everybody's inheriting things. Ellora, she's the only one. She's been married to House Rowan of the Rowan family over here in the High Lordship of Golden Grove. They're down here in the Reach. They're a nice, big, rich area, super powerful. They got all these mites. They're a great alliance for us. So, a willing sacrifice of our dynasty to pass on with them. Meanwhile, my plans for Lord Samgood Hightower seem to be coming to fruition. There is one thing little Lord Samgood is particularly not able to resist. His favorite treat, his next sweet snack, will be 1 part fig pie and 1 part potent poison. Forgotten by my agents in front of the child. Oopsie, here's a little pie for you, little child. 95% that he is killed. Bon appetit, Samgood. Let's see how this turns out. Defenseless. Lord Samgood is dead. He swallowed the bait, Sambacade and all. And in no time, he was clutching at his throat, wheezing for air, before collapsing into a small heap on the ground, never to get up again. All bakers in the area were questioned, but no trace of foul play could be found. I was able to get away with it successfully. Nobody suspects a thing. I gained just a tiny little bit of stress, I guess because it was a child, and I'm only callous. I'm not sadistic, okay? I'm not sadistic. I'm just callous. So I had to do this, though. One less high tower in the way of succession, which means we can start a new scheme. And I think I'm going to switch focus away from the high towers for a bit and make sure I lock down this Malister succession, because if I can get rid of Jocelyn Malister here, we have a excellent chance, a 94% right off the bat. That's because I am so good at intrigue, and also because this guy's supporting my schemes, and he's also quite good. So I don't even have to bribe anybody yet. We basically already have the maximum amount that we can get. 95 is the max percent chance that we can get. So, only if we roll a critical fail, basically, would we lose this chance to murder him. So within the next year, if everything goes to plan and the plot isn't discovered, Jocelyn Malister will be no more, and instead Darna Malister will be the next in line to inherit the entire Cape of Eagles, and Lucas, my son, will fall under his line, which is excellent because our northern neighbor right here, if they were all connected by just one house, I mean, I hate getting rid of canon houses and kind of just screwing them and usurping them CK3 style, but that's intrigue for you, baby. Once our power grows with our house in this region, we'll just use that strength to squeeze out the Brackens and get rid of our rivals once and for all. That's the whole point of this series. That's what we're on episode 7 for, and it's only a matter of time, baby. One step at a time. Right now, we're fabricating the claim, and we are getting rid of Jocelyn, and we are also swaying Lord Bastion because he is our spy master and our vassal over here from Honeytree, and if he likes us, well, he's less likely to scheme against us, so thinking ahead. Oh, and it looks like we have a new decision where we can pay homage to our lord. If we bestow gifts, we will earn renown, and renown is great because that essentially is the currency that allows us to increase our dynastic perks. Our dynasty, our house gets perks for basically doing cool stuff and being renowned. But if we go and pay homage to our liege, we pay in Mountaineer. This time I'm going to pay the 4 gold for the Mountaineer because last time we got hurt along our path, and if I can reduce the dangers just a little bit, I think that would be a good idea. I've learned my lesson, let's just say. And the reason why we can pay homage is because it seems that Lord Kermit has been freshly reinstated into power and has finally returned home after doing some battles. The last couple of times Lord Paramount Kermit was off fighting in the Westerlands. The Westerlands were having their own little rebellious war, but it looks like Lord Lorion was successful and prevailed against his vassals, or maybe he lost, but they managed to settle things and lower his crown authority. He's still in power, so once that war was finally over, he's allied with Lord Kermit. That's why he was away helping out the Westerlands in that war. And now he's back, and I can finally, since this is basically the first time since his father Elmo passed away. He passed away 6 years ago, and finally 6 years later, he's got the crown, and he's finally home, finished fighting his battles, and now we can go pay homage, pay our respects, swear our fealty to our new lord, and in the process, we will gain some renown of ourselves. Our house will be better known, and the things that we can do, like I was saying, to unlock some perks, I'll show you just in a second. First, taking the knee. Servants usher me into Lord Paramount Kermit's great hall in Riverrun, where he sits his throne, waiting to hear my pledge. I kneel at the feet of my lord and pledge the many oaths of homage as his scribes record the event. My attendants then follow, presenting my rich gifts to the Lord Paramount before the assembled court. Kermit bids me to arise and confirms his satisfaction, along with the rights to rule the lands I do in his stead. This is the price of fealty, and we gain 25 renown, and he gains respect for us, we gain prestige, and we can finally head on back home. So what does that renown do? It gives us perks for our dynasty, our dynastic legacies here, and because we are using the more house flavors mod, we actually have a Blackwood's specific dynastic legacy tree that we have been going down. Our house words are never forgive, never forget, And so our very first perk was Never Forgive. We hate the Brackens with all our hearts, so we're more likely to become vengeful. We also are, followers of the old gods, and we also have a strong connection to the green seers of old. So green sight, which is kind of like special magic dreams that you might be familiar with. We are more likely to inherit those traits in newborns in our dynasty. The next trait we were working towards unlocking is Never Forget. So we would gain stronger prowess. We would gain more benefits with our beliefs in the old gods. We don't forget our oaths, just like good Northmen's, and also we do not forget our traditions, like our beliefs in the old gods. We're not willing to give those up. That's what makes the Blackwoods a strong family. And the other thing that we don't forget, something else that might be more relevant in the future, once we do get rid of the Brackens, I haven't really talked about this yet, but once we do get rid of the Brackens, we're gonna have to figure out where we would go next. And the story goes, way back in the day, the Blackwoods were kings of the land here, and the Brackens, they were we say they were our vassal, they say we were their vassal and that we betrayed them, but we say it was the other way around. Obviously, the Blackwoods story is the correct version, as far as I'm concerned, as Samuel Blackwood role-playing here. But we were supposedly kings, and they betrayed us, and that was one of the first reasons why we became enemies. But we came to this land ourselves, all the way down here from the north. Apparently, the Starks, the kings of the north and such, expelled us from the lands of the north. And that's why we're an old gods follower down in the south, partly, but also we don't really know why. We don't never really get the story why we were expelled from the north, but it does beg the question of what lands in the ancient forgotten past did we once rule. And one of the theories was that we once ruled the Wolfswood. It used to be called the Blackwoods before it was renamed after the Starks kicked us out. So right now, House Glover is the High Lord of the Wolfswood, but I just gotta say, I have a feeling like maybe after we're done with the Brackens, we might have some business up here with the North to take care of again. Maybe our house should once again rule the Wolfswood. So this series has a lot of legs, and I hope you're sticking with me and you've been enjoying it, and we'll continue to carry on and rise up as House Blackwood. Hurrah, let's go. Here we are, we've got our spy master. We could give him some gold to make sure that he likes us a little bit more, or I don't think it's really worth it. We gotta save some of that gold for when we fabricate our next claim to take away some more Bracken land. So I'm gonna save my gold. He's liking us quite enough already, and he's just gonna like us more and more as we stick out this sway scheme. Meanwhile, I finally got back home. Thank the old gods, I can get back inside again. Paying homage was a trip, but we did it. And now that we have done that, we also seem to be missing someone. Our admiral has vacated his position, so we're gonna have to reassign him. I think, good Adam Wayne here. You know what? While you're waiting for your grandfather to die and take over his county, you are pretty good at stewardship, so why don't I give you a position as my admiral and assign you to protect trade, because that will help us with our tax collection. And as much as we are Riverland folk, we also are lucky enough to have a outlet to the sea here in Iron Man's Bay. We just have to watch out for those nasty Ironborn pirates. They are actually independent entirely from the crown, as is all of the Mountain in the Vale and all of Dorne, funnily enough. Strangely, too, this random county that was supposed to be part of the Westerlands somehow has gained their independence from the crown as well. So lucky them, I guess. I think it's only a matter of time before someone in the Westerlands reincorporates them, but a funny little spot down there for now. Everywhere else, things are as normal, but after the initial Dance of the Dragons wars, somehow, for some reason, these guys managed to keep their independence after being on Team Black with Rhaenyra. So lucky them, really. We'll see if one day they rejoin. I mean, I see no reason why they should. The Vale in particular is quite powerful all on their own. And we got Queen Jane here. You might have seen her in the House of the Dragon Season 2 show. She's kind of a badass. So otherwise, we don't have much to do except for to wait and see what's up. Aha! Our proposal between... I got confused here for a second. I was like, what happened to my matrilineal marriage? But I forgot. He's the guy that we're trying to kill right now, and he's trying to propose that he marry my niece, Myra. So it would be a patrilineal marriage, but I don't really see a problem with this per se. Here's the thing. It's a little tricky. If I can kill him within the next 2 years, which it looks like 9 months away, then me locking him down with a betrothal to someone who is not old enough to get married and have children with him yet, that might mean I essentially buy myself time to make sure that he is gone. Instead of like maybe if he marries somebody else and starts having kids immediately, that's one more person I would have to get rid of in the line of succession. So you know what? I'm going to accept the proposal and he will be none the wiser. We are simply strengthening our ties with our neighbors to the north here. And he and his father will be completely oblivious. We already married into his family. We already have close ties. Why not strengthen those ties further? He'll be none the more suspicious of us if we kind of keep his son on the hook for a little bit longer. We got Josman. He would have been the second son. We might have had to knock him out of the line too, but he went off and joined the Maesters, so he's not going to inherit any titles anyway, so lucky us. We can also petition our liege. What might we petition our liege for, you may ask? Nothing super relevant right now. We can ask him to help us build a city in one of our counties. Let's take a look around at our counties while we're sitting around here. So we have quite we're just one slot left, Raventree Shore, which could be put up with a city. We got Lushton down over here, a nice little city. And why not? Looks like Raventree Shore would be the perfect place to have a little city with like a little city port going on, some trade going on. I think that's actually pretty ideal. I would actually really enjoy that. So why not? If he's willing to pay for it, then why not let him? So once again, I'll hire some mountaineers to help keep us reduce the danger along the way, and let's make our way off. He already likes us because we paid homage, right? So one more favor, perhaps he'd be willing to help us out. What's this? I can no longer petition him to fund a new city in my realm. Nevertheless, I traveled all the way to Riverrun to gain his ear, and I will not pass up such an opportunity. I could ask that he simply fill my coffers, I guess. Jeez. I guess so. Is it because, yeah, he spent all his money and now he's poor, so he never could have done it. So as I am escorted to Lord Paramount Kermit's throne, where he beckons for me to approach and address him, I implore the Lord Paramount to understand the great challenges of my fiefdom which it has faced and which has left my coffers empty, beseeching him to settle my debts, not that I even have any. After listening to his speech, he sits in silence for several moments as he mulls over my petition. Eventually, he addresses me. You make some good arguments, but if I am to agree to your request, I will need something in return. Surely, you see, this would benefit both of us. I could just sort of argue my point more strongly and give up some prestige about it. My feudal levies would have to be increased. My contract would be increased forever. I would gain some renown, but I really don't want to make such a strong concession. That is extremely hard to eliminate. It could take generations to reduce my contract. I will try to re-argue my position further, and if I fail, I fail. I'll have to eat it. But Lord Paramount Kermit thinks for a moment, then he cries, Hoster, I require your counsel on the matter. The nobly born master-at-arms steps forward eagerly, clutching his sword. Yes, a most delicate affair, my lord. Meanwhile, Lord Hugo, the Paramount's Chancellor, watches quietly from the sidelines. Perhaps I could appeal to his diplomatic nature. The Lord Paramount turns back to me, his attention already moving elsewhere. I need to do something. I know just the thing to trip up Hoster. I am not exactly likely to do that well. However, I am even less likely to get Lord Hugo here to kind of join my side. So why not roll those dice We got a 1 in 3 chance. Hoster, what's your deal? Hoster Strong, will you come to my aid and argue my point? He remains unconvinced. I must head home, and perhaps another day, and many years from now, I'll make another petition, and perhaps he'll have the gold at that time to help me out. Meanwhile, let's go back inside and end our regency. And now we're just waiting around. So we're just gonna skip ahead until something more interesting happens. One of our schemes comes to fruition, or we manage to make a play. Meanwhile, our Liberty faction is almost gone altogether. There was a bunch of these guys who were not happy that my crown authority was so high, but they're gonna have to suck it up. Only Lord Anger here is still angry at me, or doesn't quite like me quite enough to see his way to leaving his faction against me. Most everybody else of she hates me, but what are you going to do? She is zealous, and so am I, but we're of different faiths, so we were never going to get along. But everybody else has kind of started to come around for me. Even though they're a Faith of the Seven, they sort of like me, except this guy, and I don't mind, because Flockshade, Bigglestone here, he's been annoying. I'll just leave it at that. We are not exactly simpatico, as you might say. Finally, my son has a son. Balian gives birth with Cherie Lannister to Emmon. Do I like that name? Let's name him after an ancestor. Lyman, I think that's a Lannister name. Tyon, Maynard, Robert, Balian. Let's just name him Balian after my son. His firstborn son will be Balian as well, and may he grow up strong and wise. All we have to do is get rid of her older brother, and then she will be the next in line to take over Lannisport. Mwahaha. The Lannisters of Lannisport line will be mine. And as you can see here, we are excellent at skullduggery and all of our intrigue. We are pretty close to maxing out our torturer trait, but we also are really close to maxing out our schemer trait. And if I get one more perk point, I will soon be able to unlock twice the schemes as normal. So 2 murder schemes at the same time. We'll be able to get so much business done very, very soon. Mwahaha. Glory to House Blackwood. It seems one of my accolades has come undone, so I'm going to send the Herald for a replacement. Our captains and accolades, normally we've got the Captain of Wisdom, and right now we've got the Valiant Blackwood Knight. These are like special titles that honor our brave knights and also give them perks, and the more glory that the title holder receives, the more the titles and the title current holders kind of like get perks, then levels up. So it's a neat little system, and it's very flavorful for especially something like role-playing Game of Thrones. So I enjoyed it. So let's get a new one of those guides down in there. And meanwhile, Lord Stanton of Pink Maiden has an invitation to a hunt. So Pink Maiden's just the High Duchy down here. Not too far away. It's still within the Riverlands, and we might have a little bit of fun if we go down there. Last time we went on a hunt, though, we failed to get anybody, and also we got burned on the way back. So it wasn't exactly what I would call a good time, but hey, we can earn prestige, we could earn some glory and some hunting experience, and we might have some fun along the way, and maybe even we'll be able to make some friends with some people who are down there. It's hard for us to make friends with all of the Faith of the Seven people, but I believe that it could be worth it. So why not? Let's go for the entourage, and let's make our way down there. This will be a fun activity that we can get done while we're kind of waiting around for our other schemes to pop off. Meanwhile, along the travel path, the trodden path, the procession has ground to a halt, a stone's throw away from Flockshade. Those darn Flockshaders. Those Bigglestones. I hate that guy. I look over to see my courtier Lily, dismounted and intently staring at something on the ground. The other entourage members have gathered around her. Lily looks up as I approach. My lord, there is an ant path here. I may be a tad superstitious, but you should never cross an ant path. She pauses. My great-grandfather did, and he never returned home. Lily, I think you're being a bit paranoid. This is nonsense. I'll take over as guide. She loses 20 opinion of us, and we grow closer to forming a rivalry. There's sort of a 50-50 shot whether we get lost and have to wait 10 days, or if we just make our way proudly and earn prestige for being such a good leader. I mean, either way, we could get delayed for 5 days. I don't believe it's a path of ants, girl. They're ants. Okay, I am a competent guide. Excellent. We make our way. We're going to make this hunt on time. I don't have to worry about any stupid ants. Okay, here we are making camp as we wait for our arrival. Check my gear, and he sets up the event. So in a couple days, it'll start. Ooh, and I got my new candidate for my accolade, a new knight to join my court. And what else could we do? We could try to just focus on slaying the beast. We kind of have a crap chance of finding that to be successful anyway, but maybe we can make some friends instead. Why don't we try to make friends with our Lord Paramount? He is joining the hunt as well, and if he likes us a lot and becomes our friend, well, maybe next time we petition him for something, he'll be a much more receptive and willing to be generous and grant us it. So why not? It's worth a shot, right? Meanwhile, we have good prospects on our hunt. Our success chances have risen because Master Aaron has assembled the party at sunrise over the camp in the plains near Pink Maiden. The local gamekeepers have scoured the vicinity for recent tracks and fumes, and a stout buck is definitely in the area, and the conditions could hardly be better for hunting it. Ultimately, Lord Stanton decided, we will hunt a stag today. Let's get out there. Finally a chance to talk to Kermit. Isn't there nothing better than a good hunt, my lord? I hope you agree. It seems that we have much in common. He relaxes his demeanor in my company, and as we move on, we can hardly be separated. I knew I would win him over. Alright, he gains some opinion of us, and we grow a little bit closer to successfully forming a friendship. Meanwhile, murder, bewinged messengers. As my scheme moves closer to fruition, swift communication is key. I have an especially clever pigeon, which Togoro could use to send an urgent message to me here in Raventree, if the need arises. But how would I get the bird into the castle of Seaguard? I could have the local bird trainer deliver it as a gift. It costs 20 gold. I could send it myself. I think this is too risky. Let's just avoid rocking the boat. We already have a really good chance of murdering this guy all on our own without any shenanigans that could get us caught. Okay? Meanwhile, we've cornered the stag. My acquaintance, Lord Moorland, is the first to spot its branching antlers. The flighty buck is hard to distinguish, but there's no doubt it's there, observing us through the tall grass. Lord Stanton takes off after the beast, crying, "Come, it's getting away!" Well, let's go. Jeez, let's chase after this thing. This guy is all headstrong. Lord Stanton, you are a brave, gluttonous, and shy. As much as he's shy, he's also brave and willing to charge in after this thing. My hunting experience increases as the exhausted, panicked animal has turned to bay, struggling to stand and snorting in panic. Lord Stanton hefts his spear and cautiously moves towards the exhausted animal. Lord Stanton chooses his moment carefully, plunging the blade deep into its heart. A fine kill, my lord. Well done. I say, an excellent hunt. We increase our hunter trait experience after doing some hunting today. We gain some legitimacy and some prestige, and we finished the hunt successfully. Unfortunately, we failed our intent to befriend our lord, but he did manage to like us a little bit better after having our little conversation. So all's well that ends well, right? Finally, we can head home. My agents have scheduled a journey for Jocelyn, which will take him to the dark woods. All that is missing is the band of thugs that will tragically slay him in a highway robbery gone wrong. I can already imagine his blood sleeping into the dark soil. Oh, the woods could be such a dangerous place. Let's see if this goes our way. Dangerous journeys. Thanks to my brilliant plan and hired thugs, Jocelyn is finally dead. As the travel party stopped to camp for the evening, bandits poured out from among the trees, calling for blood and gold. The soldiers fought back, but thankfully it was not enough. Jocelyn was tragically slain in the melee. The bandits are now hunted by all, and no one even suspects my involvement. Perhaps these commoners were not so useless after all. Their bandit party killed my target with great success. And now, as we finally return home, we have a chance to look into our future and see that Darna and her betrothed, Lucas Blackwood, will soon be the ones to carry on the line of the Cape of Eagles, and we must turn our attention instead to Lucian Lannister, because once he is gone, his sister will be next in line to inherit Lannisport. We only have a 70% chance of getting this guy, but maybe we can find a way to get some of his courtiers aligned to join the scheme. His Castellan is pretty close, if only he could be convinced. My personal scheme to sway Lord Bastion has probably gone on long enough. If we get this guy up, maybe in time, he might join our scheme. I might as well try. We can always change it later. And otherwise, with that success, I think that's a good place to end this particular video. So I thank you so much for watching. I hope you've been enjoying this series if you've been watching so far, or if this was the first episode that you saw. I hope I gave you enough context to sort of see what was going on and what our plans are. One way or another, the long-term goal is to get rid of our long-term rivals, the Brackens, and then see where we go from there. So I hope you'll subscribe, join me on this journey, leave a like, leave a comment, let me know if you have any thoughts on what we should be getting up to, and I hope you enjoyed our schemy plans and our successful murders in this episode. The Malisters and the Cape of Eagles will join our dynasty soon enough, and so will Turnbridge, and hopefully so will Lannisport. Never mind about Old Town, which is maybe a few more murders away, but as soon as we get those double murder plots, Twisted Schemer unlocked, which will probably be by the end of next episode, we get our new perk. Yeah, we're going to be well on our way and get our super schemes and our dynasty's rise rolling. Okay, once again, thanks for watching. Hope to see you next time. Click the video, click the playlist. Bye, thanks.